Hi everyone, I thought I'd provide a quick video about the final report that will be completed by your MT on day 20, and they will submit to the placements team, and you will submit to me via Blackboard as you did your interim report. So to have a look again at that final report, these are the instructions on actually how to find it. It is watermarked. Your MT will receive an unwatermarked copy via the placements team, and that's the one that they will complete. But it's a really good idea if you have a look at the full document so you see what you are being assessed under for this particular placement. All right, couple of points to note. The nominated contact in your school, which could be your MT, DP or principal, will be sent via email from the placements team a copy of the unmarked final report to be completed about 10 days before you start your placement. Your MT will need to complete the final report on day 20, and they should go through it with you so you understand exactly what they've meant in your report, so there's no surprises. You will need to get an electronic or a hard copy of all completed pages of the report from your MT. You need to check before you leave the school on day 20 that every single section has been completed and a 0 to 3 awarded for each focus area and each standard, and I'll show you that in a moment. You also need to submit the final report to Blackboard for viewing by your ELA. You need to make sure when you're actually submitting it that we can read it. So if you are taking photographs and then submitting, you need to make sure that those photographs we can actually see all of the words within that photograph. And you need to do that as soon as practical after you receive your report. And a quick reminder, this needs to be done for you to be able to be eligible for a pass for this unit. So it is one of your requirements. If you have any delays in submitting your final report, please let your ELA know ASAP. Okay, let's explore the final report a little more. As we know, it's part B of that professional experience report. And for this one, you're actually awarded a mark of between 0 and 3 for each of the different standards, and in particular the focus areas within each of the standards. And these particular levels demonstrate your achievement of each of the different focus areas. I can just also point out to you that these focus areas under each of the standards are the ones that you need to provide evidence and a reflection for within assessment 1. So that's the connection between your final report and the portfolio or assessment 1 that you are actually going to create. All right, let's have a look at what each of these levels mean. 0 is not demonstrated, so it means that the student has not demonstrated the professional standard at the relevant level. If you receive a 0 for any of the standards, you will receive an unsatisfactory overall result. 1 means you've demonstrated occasionally, and I'd like to point out to you this last sentence. It is accepted that the pre-service teachers enrolled in this unit, which is ours here, Edu 60015, may mostly reflect this level in the interim and final assessments. So don't worry if there are lots of ones on your final report. That is okay, because this is your first prac. We would expect as you start to improve and enter into your second prac that a lot more of the 2s start to show up in your work. All right, a 2 is demonstrated regularly, which means you have demonstrated the professional standards regularly during your professional experience, and 3, you've demonstrated this consistently throughout. Now, when you have a look at each of the standards and the focus areas within them, you will see that there are going to be times when it is obvious that you may only be able to demonstrate that occasionally. For example, you would expect in Standard 1 that there is more opportunity for you to demonstrate this regularly or even consistently, demonstrating that you understand how students learn. However, if we scroll through the report, for some of you in particular, it might be quite hard for you to demonstrate 7.3. So this particular focus areas, which is engage with parents and carers, and you might only end up with a 1 here because you've just demonstrated it occasionally, and that is okay. It will really depend on the placement, that your school, your MT, and so many other variables there. All right, the other thing that I should point out to you, and we'll stay on this particular standard, is when your MT hands you your final report and goes through it with you, one of the things I would like you to check is to make sure that you have a level achieved for a 0 to a 3 in each of the standards. If you do not do this, we cannot accept your final report. And we will then have to go back to your mentor teacher. So it's a part of your responsibility to ensure that every single focus area within a standard has a level achieved and also a mentor comment. And then if you go to the final report, you need to also make sure that the mentor teacher puts their comments there. You put your comments. They tick the correct box and the signatures are there as well. Really important that all sections are completed before you submit to Blackboard and before your MT submits to the placements team. If you have any further questions about your final report, please put them in this forum and your ELAs will answer them as soon as they can. Thanks for that.